Right. One of the items and objects that I wanted you to model for this week is a coffee mug straight out of your cabinet there at the house. So I've got my coffee mug right here. Of course, it's got Godzilla that my son got for me. I think I told you guys about the Godzilla mug in class. So we're going to start to model this. Now, of course, when you first look at the actual shape, we know that a coffee mug is just a cylinder. So we're going to start with that cylinder first. I'm going to go ahead and create my sketch. I'm going to create the sketch on the top plane because I want that to be extruded up. So, and I'm going to use some tools. So I'm going to create a circle. So right here on the origin, I've got my ruler, so I just want you guys to kind of sit here and use a ruler, tape measure, whatever you have to measure in the house. The outside diameter of this coffee mug is 3¼ inches. So make sure that you know and can take your measurement. So I'm going to say 3.25, 3¼ inches. And then I also need to measure the inside diameter of that mug as well. So on the inside, this is actually 2 and 15/16. So now let me show you another way you can put that in. If you don't know what the decimal equivalent of 15/16 is, which you can kind of just use the math function. So here's my circle. I'm going to say 2 plus 15/16 and then hit enter. So and you'll see that comes out to 2.9375 is actually the 15/16. It rounds up to 2.938. So now, so that's all I need right now for the cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this sketch. So, and I'm going to extrude this down. Now, when I go to extrude this, I want to make sure that I select both of those closed features. And I'm going to go the opposite way. So we're going to go minus point. Let me measure real quick. The actual thickness was about 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to take it to a distance of minus 0.125, and I'll go ahead and enter. Now, notice right here it's giving me a red. That's because it's seeing those two points. So let's take that out, and I've got that in there. Now, you're wondering why at this point, why I'm extruding or why I did this kind of solid with both the outside and how I'm going to do this. I want to mention that I am just drawing one sketch, but I can create a solid object off of that one sketch, and then I share the sketch. So Fusion is similar to some of the other 3D solid modeling out there. We create the sketch, and then when we create the solid from that, it consumes the actual sketch. So we have to make that sketch available again, and that's right up here. So if you come over here to where it says sketches, if you click that drop down arrow, notice you've got the eyeball here and it's kind of marked out. So that's consumed, it disappears and it's hidden. So we're going to open that back up. Now I can actually see my sketches again, and I can use that same sketch now when I go to extrude. So I'm going to extrude, and in this case I just want this outside feature here, and I got to take my measurement of my coffee mug. So I'm coming back here, measuring the overall height of the coffee mug, which is 3¼ inches. So this is going to be 3.25, 3¼ and there's my overall mug. Now, since I still see that sketch, if that bothers you, and you can kind of, as you pan around and zoom in and out, you can still see that. If that bothers you, just come back over here and turn that eyeball back off, that view. So then you can kind of have that disappeared. And to be honest with you, from a professional standpoint, as we kind of use these up, we probably, before we go to create our drawing files and turn these in, we probably do want to kind of make it look nicer by disabling those when we go. So there's the basic shape of my coffee mug. Now comes a little bit of the harder part. So We're going to go ahead. Now we have this shape right here for the handle. So we're going to make the handle on the mug. I'm going to go create a sketch. In this case, I want to sketch on the front plane. So we're going to click there on the front plane. And notice the palette comes up. Now, I want to use some of that geometry to kind of get this handle in place. So let's come over here. Notice on our sketch palette, we have this called a slice. So if I check mark and put that in there, we basically slice that object in half. And now I can have some of the features here and use that to kind of constrain and put my geometry in. So now, I could use a line, I could use an arc, but if you really think about this shape, it's going to kind of be hard to kind of try to figure out exactly what the curves are here. If you think about it, we really have an arc blending into an arc, blending into an arc, kind of blending into an arc as well. So we got multiple arcs that are blending in, all of different sizes. Now, in the manufacturing world, could we go in and measure and figure out what all those sizes are? We certainly could, but this is kind of a design class. We just kind of want to put a few things in place as we go. So I'm not going to use a line. I'm not going to use a center or circle. We're going to use what's referred to as a spline. All right, so I'm going to click on the spline. And I'm going to come in here, and right now I'm just kind of guesstimating on some of the actual sizes as I take a look at this. And I'm going to use this spline drawing tool. Now watch what happens. It looks like we got a straight line at the moment. So you kind of have to guesstimate here a few things with where we're putting this. And we're just going to kind of come around here, and there is that spline. Now, I'm still in the spline tool, but I want to get out of it. So I'm going to right click, click OK. So now I'm out of the spline tool. Notice as we get this, we've got these different nodes. And as we move these nodes, notice that we can do certain things with them to kind of change them around. So here's this node. See how we can kind of do some different funky geometry type things with the nodes. Now we can also, in this case, I'm going to bring this in. We're going to kind of make some changes here with this, get this kind of in the way we want. And of course, don't forget, if you don't like any of what you've done, you can always go back and edit it out and kind of do it all over again. There's nothing saying that you have to keep it like that. You can always change it and redo it. It doesn't take a whole lot of time in most of these cases with that. All right, so that's definitely too high. So I'm going to bring this up here like that. Now, the one thing that I'm also going to notice and note here with this, I'm going to put some geometric constraints on this too. So be careful. So we're going to go ahead and put a dimensional constraint. I'm going to click from this node out to that node. And notice that gives me an angle. So I don't like that. Let's go ahead and hit cancel on that. Let's try to kind of see if we can do some other dimensional constraints here with this as we go in. So let me try again from here to here, and notice I can get a couple of different ways to do this. So we're going to go ahead and keep that like that. Now, I'm coming back in, and I'm actually going to measure from the inside out, and we're going to put this in. That is roughly a 1.5. Now watch what happens when I put this dimensional constraint in. So I'm going to go 1.5, and it pulls everything back in it. Again, not a big deal. Just grab the nodes and kind of move things back around so that you get everything to look the way that you want it to. Oh, now notice, it's acting goofy on me here, so I still have this dimension constraint active, so it's wanting to do that. So that's another thing as we go through, as you got to make sure that your tool is not active up here, or if you need it, you've got to make sure that that tool is activated as well. So we're going to kind of move this over here. going to grab this node. We're going to bring that down. I'm going to kind of take this up, and I'm also going to move this one up just a little bit. This one down just a little bit here. It's kind of playing around with this, trying to get this in a little bit more along the lines of what I want. All right, so I think that's pretty good for now. So I'm going to leave that right like that. I want a closed sketch. So right now with the spline, I just kind of started here, went around and ended there. So that is not closed. So I need to close off this sketch. So I'm going to kind of use the line drawing tool, and I closed off that sketch. Notice how we get the change here in the coloration when we're finished. Hit escape. I'm going to hit escape twice to kind of get out of that tool. I'm going to go back to my spline tool again. Now, this time, maybe zoom in a little bit so you can really see where your objects are. So, and I'm going to come back in. If you look I could offset this whole thing, but if you look at the actual cup here, when we're looking at it, I've really got some bigger, deeper points. So I really want to kind of try to duplicate this as much as possible. And I'll use the existing line here. So now, again, so you're just kind of coming in here, placing those nodes where you think they're going to be appropriate or where they should be. So kind of come in here with this, down to there, and then I'm going to go back up to and connect the line. I'm done with this. Right click, hit OK to get out of that particular tool. Again, use the nodes if you want to make any changes there. And I'm going to confirm now that I do have two separate lines here, and we're going to make sure that these kind of match. So if I click Finish Sketch right now, I can come in and now I can extrude this. Now notice, this isn't giving me the ability to just extrude the outside portion. That means that I do not have a closed sketch in this particular inside spline. So let's cancel out of this for a second. I'm coming right down here to the lower bar where it says Sketch 2. I'm going to right click and go Edit Sketch. Now, I need to make sure that that sketch is closed off. So at some point, there's something wrong with my line. So let's kind of go in. Notice I'm back to the solid. So let's slice this again so we can kind of see what's going on and where. So, all right. So I've got line up here. So if I take this one, so if we kind of move this over, so now we're kind of starting to get the two different areas. So I got an area here and an area there. So what was happening before, let me go ahead and move this back. That line wasn't intersecting. So the only closed sketch that I had was the whole thing. So just simply by moving this over, now I have two different closed-in areas. Now, technically, this sketch, there probably would be some other things. This isn't a pretty sketch. It's just kind of getting me what I want here to solve this problem. But in reality, I would want to actually kind of do some things to make sure that all of this is good to go with that particular sketch, especially because I don't have, it's not lined up, it's not kind of constrained by anything else, it's just kind of hanging out here in space. We'll see if that makes a difference when we go to extrude this. Now,